In this world where everything is available everywhere at all times, of all kinds, brighter, louder, faster, I find myself more and more repulsed by oversaturation. And I see that there will be a renaissance of subtlety. I absolutely do feel that in my blood. Hopefully I'll live long enough to be present when introverted, demure, sexual undercurrents, complex and nuanced, will be all the rage, in contrast to, OnlyFans and whatnot. So this is why I am making this video, for those people who have the same emotional and, I guess, sexual aesthetics that I do. I am myself an introvert and learning how to survive in the extroverted world. And if any of you, even at times or in certain moments, feel the need to express your sensuality, if not sexuality, through much more sophisticated whispers rather than screams for attention, you're in the right place. What do I mean when I talk about seduction for introverts? This is my personal favorite type of olfactory profile, and as a representation of that aesthetic. This is something that you cannot detect from a mile away. This is something that requires time, attention, and unambiguous physical closeness. These are the perfumes that I think work the best in the kind of naked body situation, or at least a very close physical proximity. I do find that perfumes that really work well on stage and public forums outside are really not doing the best. They're not really positioning your nose and your mood the best for subtlety, for seduction, for anything that's a little bit more sophisticated rather than overt, bam, here I am. And I want to start with a pair, kind of like for her, for him, although both of these are unisex and I wear both. And any person of any gender, sexual identification can absolutely make it work. So these two are going to be coming from a Atelier Breu d'Orange, or also called Eldo, in niche perfume lover circles. And the one, I think they kind of pretty much define the topic for today, so hopefully that will be kind of a good vector for us to start from. So the one that probably the closest for her is Dangerous Complicity. It is in many ways ever so slightly alcoholic, coconutty, soft musk. That's what I would probably reduce it to. Quiet, very sitting close to the skin type of fragrance that is characterized by the brand as woody, spicy, coconutty. Everything is true. It's even a little bit balsamic and fruity. I would agree with that just the same. When we talk about the pyramid, it's like a lot of things, but pretty much what makes this more special than normal fruity coconutty concoctions that you can find anywhere, like any pretty much $5 to $10 body spray, right? This is different because it has a little bit of, I would say, it's muskier than a lot of the fruity coconuts out there, and it is also a little bit more alcoholic. It's more toward, I would say, pina colada, and even more so with a little bit of taste of coconut rum. Yeah, probably coconut rum is the closest in terms of the flavor. And that's what I so much love about the seductiveness here. It is not boozy, it's not overly fruity, it's not screamy musky like, you know, Narcissa Rodriguez or Tiziana Terenzi could be. It's everything is very subtle and it really melts with your skin. And that's again what I would find so seductive. If somebody is going to be smelling it being really in close physical proximity to you, the words are redundant. Like they can lick your skin if that's what they have to do for both of you to enjoy the evening. This will just create an allure almost indistinguishable from your own skin scent, if that makes any sense. So Dangerous Complicity to me has this both, actually the name says it all, this kind of skin-like musk and the coconut rum, kind of the alcohol notes in here. That's what takes it away from banal and makes it a little risque, but in a very understated fashion. And the complementary pair, though again, you can consider them as, you know, a gift for two. You can consider that a gift for myself because I have them in my personal collection, or you can consider either of them independently, or, you know, as if you want to make a gift to yourself or to you and your significant other. The other one is by the same brand, Etat Libre d'Orange. It's called Fat Electrician. I love the classic Etat Libre d'Orange, with certain exceptions, but they knew what they were doing back then. So it's a rather long name. Semi-modern vetiver, fat electrician. It is slightly oily, you know, like this, with this feeling of like essential oils when you rub them in. It's slightly oily with solid, almost a little bit metallic vetiver, and a lot of whipped cream. Not overly sweet, more of a kind of this frothy, milky type of way. It's so smooth, and again, like it's just juxtaposition of slightly metallic and piercing vetiver with this just milk souffle sweetness. It's so good. And ever so slight oiliness. I don't know what creates that effect. It's comforting, yet ever so slightly, it's both comforting and safe, yet forward pushing. And that's why it's included in this particular video. I think it's a perfect one, a perfect combination of traits for one of those dates, you know, the ones where things absolutely do need to progress forward. As we are on the point of notes of alcohol, something that I have to mention together with apologizing in advance, not that easy to find, you still can't find it on the official website of the brand, but I'm not sure how easy it is to find elsewhere, is Foi d'Absinthe by L'Artisan Parfumeur. I have it in an older packaging. Now they have like darker bottles and black caps. Once I bought it, it's probably like slept on my shelf for nearly half a year before I rediscovered it, and then I just couldn't put it down. It's again this combination of almost watercolory texture. A lot of L'Artisan Parfumeur creations, they do have this almost ethereal quality. Not all of them. Some of them are pretty much beast mode, but that's what I love this brand for. They're sophisticated, they're interesting to observe. So they're not light and simple like Jo Malone. They actually have substance to them, and often almost surprising combinations of accords and notes. And yet they're always they're always kind of respectful of your private space, and this is why I find gravitating toward everything, nearly everything they create. So Foie d'Absinthe indeed has the note of absinthe, but it's so softly and gently weaved into some warm, again I would say skin musks, that's probably gonna be a common theme here, with a little bit of leather, almost suede type of leather. It's so beautiful, like once I spray it I can't stop. If you look at its official marketing pyramid, it doesn't really have leather in it, but what it does have is balsam fir and incense, pine tree needles. Maybe that's it. There's something here that is so comforting, and I think that's the kind of the pine tree balsamic type of undercurrent that is somehow like supporting and comforting, together with the slight bitterness, sweet bitterness of absinthe. It also has nutmeg, ginger, pepper. It has quite a bit of these very subtle, finely milled spices. It's addictive. It's addictive. It's something, it's probably the heaviest, the most evening-like, the most kind of wintry scents that I would propose herein. Again, I'm reviewing all of these with respect to you being in very close physical proximity to another person and potentially being undressed, just saying. So all of the fragrances here I would require to really melt with the skin really well, and to have longevity without loudness. I find that to be very important, so you don't repel somebody by a screaming loud scent, but rather that scent staying with you and melting with your skin, that it creates this ever so subtle aura around your body. So Foie d'Absinthe is probably the one that's worth hunting down if you're interested in this category of fragrances, and this is the one that's probably the most complex and the heaviest, the kind of the most winter-like and the sweetest among the ones that I'm going to show you. Maybe with one exception, but we'll get there. Another candidate, as you can see, subtle notes of alcohol always bring in this this somewhat dubious allure, and I find if you mix them well with other notes that are very comfortable and kind of feel comforting, that's what creates that hook. This is a slightly different take. This is Elizabeth and James Nirvana Amethyst. Amethyst is essentially mixed around very, again, soft skin-like musks, somewhat of a fruitier nature. I think, is it osmanthus here? Somewhat peachy to me. Let's see. Here we go. It's somewhat fruity, but they don't really say what creates that impression. The heart of it is honeysuckle, and I love the smell of honeysuckle during the summer nights. I think there are very few other widespread fragrant bushes that I know that have such an effect on me. It's just like I just freeze every time I encounter this smell. I just give me 5 minutes. I just need to stay here. So the honeysuckle, the contrast, right? The subtle and a little of a contradictory contrast here is tobacco. To me, it's much more tobacco than most other tobacco scents that I've tried and have in my collection. Yet the whole thing about this that is very understated. I think this is partially why this is not a bestseller. It's not really talked about much, but it's kind of, I would say this is a soothing seduction for those who either partially like the smell of tobacco and cigarettes, or those who do smoke. If you do, it will the most organically mix with pretty much the general smell that surrounds you, because like if you're not a smoker, you always can tell who is a smoker. Not judging, I'm just saying everything has a scent. Here I don't smoke, but I absolutely love how tobacco smells in this combination with very soft, slightly woody, somewhat fruity honeysuckle. It's such a quiet punch. It's so quiet and charming, and yet it kind of gives you a little bit of a pause. It's like, oh, what was that? What was that with? Is that tobacco? In terms of these bubbly, euphoria style, kind of girly, I hate that word, but you know, kind of this bubbly romantic part. It's actually a new bottle in my collection. This is Arizona by Proenza Schuler. Gorgeous bottle. I keep trying to find a way, let's try, to showcase just how gorgeous it is, and I keep failing at it. It's one of the most impressive bottle designs that I've seen in designer on designer shelves. You can also find it fairly affordable in TJ Maxx and a few other places. So, what about Arizona? They talk about this cactus flower. That's all great. I'm sure people in marketing were proud of their work. To me, it smells that, again, skin-like, kind of this sensual musk with added strawberry syrup on ice. It's not too syrupy, it's not too musky, it's not too loud, it's not too anything. It's this perfectly kind of whipped, it's like strawberry ice essentially. But not the bad sugary kind, but actual strawberries. Maybe with a dash of cream. Beautiful, cheerful, for those who do like more of a fruitier and sweeter, a little bit more flirtier creations. I would highly recommend Arizona by Proenza Schuler. That was a lucky find for me. And the one that I would recommend for him, if I had to though, I use it myself. Let's see if I can polish it up a little bit. It's a very glossy bottle. Let me do my best. This is Homage by Lalique. Also, exceptional packaging. At least this one, for sure. And this, what I would say, kind of it's a classier, toward a more classic male scents type of olfactory compositions. That said, as I said, I wear it myself. I like that this has kind of violety, irisy, almost lavender type of citrusy warmth about it. If you can imagine that. If you imagine like a warm, soothing lavender souffle with a little bit of a lemon zest on top of it, that's what it makes me think of. It's refreshing, but it's not aquatic. It's not by any means anything as austere and pungent as Creta Ventus or yada yada yada. And yet it's also, I mean, in the world of olfactory marketing, as we live in it now, it's gendered. I would say that most people who don't know any better would say this is, you know, oh, this is for him. I did mention I wear it myself. I love it. People love it on me. But if you're more of a classicist, but you're an introvert, and you want something that is understated, sophisticated, sensual, but not, you know, strawberry syrupy, I would say Homage by Lalique. Homage, Alone, Lalique. That's the bottle. Just to give you a little bit more color, it's pyramid states that we have violet leaf, saffron, violet, black pepper, musk, and oud. I don't really feel any oud here. I would say it's, I don't know why there are no citrus notes in here, but the opening to me is quite citrusy. I would say this is like, again, a kind of lavender violet souffle with lemon zest and soft skin like musk, very comforting and yet a little bit animalic at the base. But again, this is so well balanced and skin centric that I think that would work for close physical proximity with someone else. Okay, and now to my favorites. These two I cannot show without smiling, beaming ear to ear. And you probably know what they're gonna be, because the number of times I talked about this fragrance is pretty much, it's obnoxious. This is Mia Perla by La Perla. First of all, this is the best packaging La Perla has ever produced. I ordered these because they didn't have it in the States for a good year, if not longer. I ordered it from Great Britain for like a just obnoxious price, only to find 3 months later that it was sold on every single perfume discount store for quite an affordable price. La Perla knows a thing or two, right? About lingerie and about how to make things seductive, high quality and demure. That said, when it comes to their fragrances, I'm a little split. Some things like this I absolutely adore and love, and some things to me are indistinguishable from mass market everywhere else. So I would say that Mia Perla by La Perla is the absolute best manifestation of La Perla is as a brand is all about. This is it. It is soft, spicy floral. It's kisses in the bottle. Every time I wear it, especially when I just freshly apply it, and I usually do no more than 2, but again, it's so soft you can potentially maybe overdo it. I would rather recommend you get yourself a decant or have a bottle with you to refresh. It's much better results for any perfume, let alone things of this nature. Every time I kind of freshly apply it and go somewhere, people just like, oh, what is this? Because it's not syrupy, but it's romantically rosy kind of sweetness. It's not a spice perfume like black pepper, cardamom, but it gives you a little bit of this like pink pepper little prickle in the air. It's just such a seductive perfume. I need another word. I can't use seductive with every single one here, but that's pretty much the purpose of this video. Quintessential seduction tool for all introverts. And a little bit more upscale version that probably is more celebrated in the niche perfume lover circles, and I bow my head to it, is Royal Muska by Micallef. I fought against liking it because I don't like packaging that Micallef has been deploying. This is a slightly better version, but like some of their stuff is just leaves me bewildered. Why would they go with that packaging? This is, I would say, you know, naked body with iridescent crystals. I'll give it fit to this one because it's this perfect. It's kind of like if you visited a burlesque diva in her private bedroom on a beautiful sunny Saturday morning for coffee. Because it is not loud, it's not over the top, but the peachy musk here that to be fair, Micallef came up with the fruity musks, seductive fruity musks, way before Kilian kind of fought for that niche. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. If you like peach souffle, if you like peachy cocktails, if you like osmanthus as a component in perfumes, you will love this one. And it is quintessentially soft and almost lotion-like, so it's not about like, oh, this is what peach smells like. It's just an echo, it's just a wave, a cuddly, ever so subtle fruity wave on top of skin like musk. Beautiful, beautiful perfume. If you things that are skin-like, not in terms of they're very quiet, but they're actually exploiting the whole notion of skin. Skin on Skin by L'Artisan Parfumeur. Here we have musks, we have leather, and we have suede. Skin on Skin. I would say this is somewhat of a dustier irisy suede perfumes. It's way more dusty and irisy than it's suede. That said, I think it's a great one if you don't want to be neither fruity nor leathery nor anything predictable. I would say that iris for introverts in the moments of seduction can be played very carefully and very masterfully if you combine it with subtle sweetness. The subtle sweetness here comes from kind of like leathery suede plus the powderiness that is not austere, not boring, not strict. Skin on Skin is a very playful, soft perfume. And this is why I think it belongs in this category. That said, it's probably less flirty than the other ones that I showed you. Even less so, but my personal favorite when it comes to soft skin like suede, to me, leather is a very sensual and very sexy material, so I have to include at least something here. It's Histoires de Perfumes 1904. 1904. This is much more suede than it is iris, but to me this is pretty much iconic, like the best leathery, well, suede-like iris that exists on the market. Still haven't found anything even remotely close to it. This is the only bottle that I have, and I used up a little bit, and now I'm like being really stingy with it, but I love it. If I feel a little bit more toward the territory of wearing, leather on skin, that's probably what I would put on most likely. It's beautiful, but I have to apologize, these are very rare. This is gonna be a hunt if you want to find something like that. I thought about what could be a more affordable equivalent, potentially clean cashmere, but not quite. And then I thought again, and I just realized, like, I don't know better alternatives. As of right now, these are the two that I would recommend if you like the idea of sensual, soft, suede-like fragrance, maybe slightly powdery fragrance on your skin. These two, I would say, pretty much the top in that category for me. And the one that is just fluff, unicorns, rainbows, just pure heaven. It actually takes us away from sexuality and innuendos toward more of a just pure admiration, just pure fluff. And this is Tardes by Carner Barcelona. Spanish brand. I do not know of a better almond type souffle with just sprinkled sugar powder. Not sugar, just, just ever so slightly sprinkled sugar powder, just a little bit. This is the softest, fluffiest, most cuddly perfume. If I had to compare it with Mia Perla by La Perla, this is still a little bit more. This one has a little bit more of a seduction in it, and it's a little more complex in its composition. Here, to me, there's no better way to describe it as almond souffle sprinkled with sugar powder. It's pure bliss. It's heaven. And I challenged myself to think of, can I recommend an oud that could be seductive for introverts? I thought and I thought and I thought. That's not an easy thing. Ouds are not shy most of the time. But I found one. This is a niche brand from Denmark. This is my second decant, thanks to my subscriber who every once in a while, when I cry into her feed, into her DMs, she's like, all right, I'll get you another one. But I really gotta get myself a bottle at some point. This is Zarko Parfum, the niche brand from Denmark, as I mentioned, Oudish. O-U-D-ish. If there is such a thing as white oud, this is it. It has ambergris, green tea, white musk, and oud. When I first got it, to me, it smelled like if you really heat up an old skillet, you know, those like iron skillets, and it's really, really hot, and you put water with a little bit of sugar and it starts evaporating. That's what it would smell like. Because it has a little bit of a sweetness, similar to Tardes. It's just subtle. It's not in your face by any means. But the ambergris with white musks and oud here essentially to me gives this effect of a hot or very warm iron, if when you're ironing, or potentially like a iron skillet. It is, again, comforting but unusual. Soft, but it lasts. Sits close to the skin, but has a presence. Oudish. If you think that ouds, it's not something for you, but you still kind of feel curious and want to explore it a little bit more from a more kind of a more comfortable angle, Oudish by Zarko Parfum, that will surprise you. I would even say, I'm kind of curious if any of you who like ouds have tried this before. Do you really detect oud in here? Because the whole fragrance is, it's kind of like a Norwegian version of a quintessential Arabic ingredient. It's a really very reimagined, redesigned way to look at oud, and I wonder if it even registers at this point. As I told you, I keep going through these and keep begging for more, and it's probably the most unusual fragrance in this whole video. That said, I find it perfectly comforting yet unusual, and this is what I think creates the hook. This is what introverts are all about, is people who don't speak for the sake of speaking. When they open their mouth, they have something to say. When they do look at you with longing, you know there is substance and depth there. It's not all surface, it's not all fluff. So if that kind of seduction, olfactory or otherwise, tickles your fancy, please share in the comments what fragrances in your collection you would put in this category. What kind of fragrance has enough of a intrigue and enough of a kind of this alluring twist while staying safe, understated, and comforting. I'll be waiting for your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. because then I'll see you in the next video.